Welcome back to the channel. Today we are making the most delicious and crispy skin salmon. Norwegian salmon, one of the best types of fish that you can eat out there. This lovely pink Norwegian salmon. It is so good, especially when the skin gets nice and crispy. It is too nice. So there's two ways of cooking a salmon. One is without the skin and one is with the skin. Sometimes taking out the skin can make it a little bit easy. I am, however, making it with the skin on. I love that crispy salmon skin. It is so good. So salmon can really be expensive in restaurants. I think I've eaten salmon only 3 times in a restaurant and it is ridiculously expensive. So today I'm going to show you how to make that perfect salmon at home. Really easy. You know that equation, flavor plus technique. You don't want to put any type of spice on this fish that overpowers it. You want it to have a nice neutral flavor. And the technique, so important when cooking this beautiful piece of fish. You want that fish to be cooked right through. And there's a very simple way of making the skin nice and crispy. So let's get into it. I'm also going to be making some nice asparagus. Asparagus goes so well with salmon. It is one of my favorites. Very simple, very healthy, and really quick to prepare. So in order to get this nice and crispy, we need to pay a little attention to the skin. Really simple. All you need to do is kind of bend the fish in this direction. As you can see, get a really sharp knife. So important to have a sharp knife. It's very easy to ruin a salmon if your knife is not sharp. Give it a nice firm grip. All you need to do is score. Watch your fingers. The blade can slip if it's not sharp. That is exactly what I'm looking for. Now, when heat is applied to skin, especially on fish, that fish will actually bend. And the last thing you want is an uneven fish on your plate. So it's very important to score. That also allows the spices or seasoning to get into that meat. And it is too nice. I mean, salmon is, I love it. I love it so much. My God. Time to season. So the flavor we're going for is really simple. This is the go-to spice for salmon and it is quite popular in the world. So once you experiment with the spice, you can add in your own flavors. However, certain spices do not go with salmon. It just becomes too overpowering. So I would say experiment, but the thing is, salmon is so expensive. You don't want to really mess up that fish. I mean, a small piece like this costs around 150 bucks. So you really don't want to mess this up. First things first, salt. Kosher salt. Use kosher salt when it comes to meat, any type of meat, fish, poultry, beef, lamb. Some black pepper. You want to have this nice crushed black pepper on the salmon, nice grain sizes. Avoid using any ground pepper. You need some of the peppercorns in there. So salt and pepper is on both sides. I'm going to throw in my master blend spice. Very simple. I'm using a Cajun spice. You can buy this made or you can make your own Cajun spice at home. Really simple, and I got a small twist to it. So my spice has already been made. All I've added in here: smoked paprika, some chipotle seasoning, oregano or oregano, wherever you're from, same thing, and my secret spice, fennel seeds. It just takes the salmon to a whole nother level. Trust me people, it is too nice. So the only thing I did not add traditionally in a Cajun spice is a garlic powder and cayenne pepper. I don't like any spice on my salmon. I'm talking about heat. I like it to have a nice neutral flavor. Still want to taste that fish, and it smells that fennel. Oh my God. Always season from a high point. You don't want to have lumps of seasoning on your fish. So take your salmon and wipe all that spices out of that board. Don't waste any of the spices. Just look at this, people. So my salmon is nicely seasoned. It is smelling so good. Now I'm going to turn on the heat. So we discussed flavor, now let's discuss technique. The first part of that technique was actually to score the skin, so you do not buckle that fish, and make sure it is nice and flat when it hits that pan. The second most important thing is to know, if you're cooking salmon with the skin on, you need a non-stick pan. I tried a cast iron pan once and the skin just stuck to it. So stainless steel or a non-stick pan, you have to watch and make sure the skin does not stick on that pan. Also, it is important that the heat on that pan is at medium, not low or not high. Medium is just right. Depends on your stove, gas, induction. You need to play around with your stove and see what is that medium heat. When using a non-stick pan, you cannot use high heat because you will burn the Teflon coating on that pan, which can release chemicals into your food, into your body, and you don't want that. So when using non-stick pan, low or medium heat is perfectly fine. Now what we're going to do is add in some canola oil. You can add in some extra virgin olive oil. I use canola oil as my neutral oil because of its high smoking point. I don't need to worry about that oil burning. When using olive oil, which has a low smoking point, it's very easy to burn that oil, resulting in a poor executed dish. Time to throw that fish in. Skin side down. You really need to be patient with that salmon. You don't want to overcook it and you don't want to undercook it. There is no set time when it comes to making salmon. However, it's important to know the temperature on your stove, and by observing, looking at the color of the salmon, seeing how opaque it is on the center will actually tell you when that salmon is cooked. So when I handle salmon, it's also important I use a spoon. You can use something that cannot break the flesh of the salmon. The salmon is so tender, so fragile. If you use any type of like fork or gripper, you are going to damage that flesh. So use a spoon. Smells so good up here. And now very easily pick up your salmon, handle with care, and just turn it over. So you want your skin to get nice and crispy, and you can kind of test. If you can hear that, the skin is getting nice and crispy. Now, sometimes you'll find uneven parts of darkness on the salmon. It's no stress, the skin will still be very tasty. You need to play around with your heat. Once you get familiar with the temperature on your stove, you'll see that you'll need to either increase it or decrease the heat to get the skin nice and even with that color. Now it's time to add in some love, butter. Get a nice knob of butter, throw that in, thyme, garlic in the pan. Make sure that you move your salmon around in the pan when you turn it over on the other side. Sometimes the salmon does not have an even bottom, so that edges need to be cooked. A little bit basting. I mean, look at that, people. Just look at that. I mean, it is smelling so good up in here. This butter is gone absolutely creamy, caramelized, and whew, golden, baby, golden. It looks absolutely good. It smells absolutely good. That is so good, people. Nice and slow. There we go. Take some of that butter, take that thyme, just throw it on the top. Let that sit, that garlic. Now, this fond is going to be brilliant for what I'm going to do next. I'm going to cook that asparagus in this. While the fish is nice and hot, I'm just going to give it a bit of zest, just for that lemon zest to absorb into that meat. So I just want to just turn the lemon, add on grating, gives it this nice citrus. Time for that asparagus. Really simple to make. There's many ways of making it. A lot of people blanch it in salted water. I like to keep the skin on. Flavor is in the skin. Asparagus has this kind of woody tip at the end, so it's very important to break off that tip or cut it out. You cannot eat this, so all you need to do is just kind of just feel with your finger where it starts to get nice and soft, and that is your breaking point. So what I like to do is just take a bunch. Okay, there's a few here. Let's line it up. Visually, I can actually see where that wooden part is. Just chop them. Beautiful. Look at that. You can use this to make some nice stock, vegetable stock, so keep them if you want to. Just a bit of advice, never eat asparagus on your first date, because when you go to the loo, you will know why. So get the pan nice and hot, throw in this asparagus. I got that fat and that flavor from the salmon in that pan already, so I want to use that to actually cook that asparagus down. While you're making asparagus, the salmon is having a good rest, and it's so important to actually rest a piece of meat. I like the asparagus to be in a horizontal position. Just makes it easy to move the pan so that fat can go all around the asparagus. So this garlic and thyme, it is still nice and flavorful. So take that and add it onto your asparagus. Take a nice knob of butter in. Asparagus is normally ready when it's fork tender. Take a fork or a knife, a nice small paring knife, and just poke into the asparagus, and then you would know where it is cooked. There's no need to overthink this. This is really simple cooking at home. Okay, some kosher salt, black pepper, Throw in some fresh parsley. Looks good. Add in some zest. Now the asparagus becomes so nice and fragrant. It is smelling so good. Asparagus test. Take your knife and just give it a small poke. Okay. You can feel the resistance on that asparagus, so it needs a few minutes. I mean, I'm cooking this at a low heat. Asparagus can burn easily. I just wanted to have a nice soft texture. In the meantime, let's plate this baby. Let's place it on that center. So get a piece of paper towel. One more test for the asparagus. Look at that. Just goes in so easy. I mean, no resistance at all. And that is a perfectly cooked asparagus. So some fresh parsley again. Place it on the paper towel. Just to get off that extra fat. Just put that over there. Oh my god, that is good. That is good. Some finishing salt. Got some fleur de salt. Parmigiano Reggiano, Parmesan. Adding a little bit more zest. And there we have it, people. The most delicious crispy skinned salmon with sauteed asparagus. It smells so good. I mean, just have a look at this. That Parmesan is going to be so good on that asparagus. So let's have a taste, shall we? Nice and crispy. Oh my god. Oh my god. That is good crispy fish. And some asparagus with this Parmesan. Eating with a damn spoon. This is the greedy me. Trust me, you're never going to order salmon in the restaurants again. This is so easy to make at home, and you can too. The nice hint of fennel is coming through. The chipotle is just on point. It is seasoned to perfection with that salt and pepper. There is nothing I would add to this dish right now. This should be a nice weekday, quick and easy dish. No struggle, no fuss. So I need to get this to the missus inside. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Thank you to everybody that already subscribed. There is going to be tons more coming on the next episode. We are finishing off season 2 with beautiful roast chicken, and I got a Chinese recipe that I will share with you. So hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you get notified when those videos are uploaded, because it's going to be too nice. Anyways, I will see you on the next one.